What's going on, guys? Omar here with 68 Charger Garage. Welcome back to the page. So on this episode 2, we're going to be removing the Magnum and 727 transmission from the 68 Charger. So on my last video, I gave you pretty much a little inventory list of everything I've gotten so far. I went ahead and built the crane and the engine stand already, and I moved all the parts over here to the bar area. So the next thing to do is to remove the drive shaft, all the fluids. I am gonna have to take this hood out. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. I just removed the drive shaft from the back. I went ahead and put the bolts back on, that way I don't lose them. Before removing the drive shaft from the transmission, I'm gonna go ahead and drain it, because if I pull it out, it's just gonna start leaking transmission fluid right now. And this is gonna be a little bit of a pain to have the crate motor right here, because it's gonna get in the way of the jack stands and the jack and everything. But I think we're just gonna work around it, because pretty soon I'll be able to roll the car back and start taking the engine out. All right, guys, so it's barely dripping now, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove the drive shaft. I think it's gonna be safe, and I don't think there's gonna be any more leaking, so we'll see. So I guess I was wrong. I just made a little bit of a mess right here, but at least it's not too much. So now we're removing all the oil from the engine, and then we're gonna move on to the radiator fluid. Car's going back down. I've already drained the transmission fluid and the oil. I was gonna do the radiator next, but I decided that I think I'm gonna just go ahead and tackle the headers. The thing that I can't stand and hate the most about my car was the driver's side header, so I'm sure that other people can agree with me. I'm pretty excited about taking that off for the very last time that I'll ever have to mess with that header. Hopefully the new one on this 5.7 Hemi is not gonna be as annoying and cumbersome as the small block, and I think the big block headers as well, the long tooth headers. Just to make this easy in the long run, I'm just gonna go ahead and label these cables. That way I don't have to do too much guesswork whenever I put them back on. As far as this battery bracket, I'm gonna have to go ahead and remove it, because I am going to need that space for the cold air intake on the new Hemi. So I'm going to do a relocation kit and put it in the trunk. And so this is gonna be going away pretty soon. All right, guys, so after assessing the situation, I think I'm gonna take out the radiator next. That way, while I'm taking everything else off, I don't scratch it or mess it up, because I'm planning on using this same radiator with the Hemi. I knew this was going to be a mess. It's going all the way down, but at least the radiator is drained. I was about to try to pull the radiator out, and I realized that the transmission lines are still attached to the radiator. So I guess I'm thinking that I already have a manual transmission, but I don't have one yet. So let's go ahead and remove those before we can get the radiator out. Next, I'm going to remove the power steering lines. On this end, I just removed the wiring to the alternator, to the temp sensors, as well as the oil pressure. And then this bolt had the coil right here, so I removed that. Unplugged the coil as well as the wiring to the MSD ignition. All right, guys, so I'm using the flash now. So the only thing that I think I have connected to the engine at this point is this ground wire. Other than that, I think that should be pretty much it, besides obviously the headers and the motor mounts. And then I'm gonna have to remove the wiring for the transmission as well, and the speedometer cable. And so that should be pretty much it, and it's gonna be ready to come out pretty soon. The next thing I'm gonna remove is the carburetor. On this side, I think I just need to remove the headers, and then I can get to that motor mount bolt right there. This one, like I was mentioning earlier, I cannot stand this header because it gets in the way of everything. Yeah, if you can see right there, the end of that bolt actually hits the header, so I'm not able to pull it out just because of the way it is. I set my phone to charge for a little bit because the battery was dead. And in the meantime, I just took out the bolts for the headers. So I took these out and I took out the ones on this side. with that said, I was able to remove that motor mount bolt right there. That one was like super easy to remove because it's totally not in the way. It's gonna be the other one that's gonna be a little bit of an issue, so I'm gonna see how I can get that one taken out. I thought I was gonna be able to take out this bolt, but it's getting stuck on the header, so I'm just gonna go ahead and unbolt the headers right here. And then that way they're gonna be loose and I'll be able to take that mount out. So right now the only thing that I need to do is remove the transmission mount as well as the speedometer cable. Then this is gonna be easy. I just pull this out, it's gonna come right out. There you go. And then I have to take away the linkage for the shifter. And then I can't forget to remove the wiring and the starter, and then that's gonna be it. I just removed all the bolts right here from the cross member, and so I ended up just jacking up the transmission on a little jack. That way it has a little bit of support. The only thing I need to do is just pry it open. That way I can get it off the car. There you go. The only thing I need to do is just put the crane on the engine, hook it up, and then we can pull this engine out. So let's go ahead and do that. So I ran into a few issues, mainly just doing this by myself, but the engine is out. So the only thing I need to do is figure out a way to lift the back a little bit. That way I can level it and then I'll be able to pull it out. All right guys, so it's getting close to 1 in the morning. I'm gonna stop for the day. I did manage to pull the Magnum and 727 out. Overall, it took me maybe like 3 to 4 hours to get all this done, but at least it's taken care of. All I need to do tomorrow is wake up super early and get all this cleaned up, make sure that it looks good, and then start prepping this engine to be able to put it in. So anyway guys, yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.